Far away in the land of Moab, the air was heavy with tension. King Balak stood at the top of his palace walls, his eyes scanning the horizon. And what he saw made his stomach twist with dread. Across the valley, stretching as far as his eyes could see, was an ocean of tents. They belonged to the Israelites, a nation unlike any other. They were not wanderers in the ordinary sense, these were people with a destiny, people who followed a God whose power terrified kings. Balak had heard the stories. Everyone had. This was the same nation that had walked through the Red Sea on dry ground, while Pharaoh's mighty army drowned behind them. The same people who defeated strong nations and toppled powerful kings in battle, not by sheer numbers alone, but because their God fought for them. And now, here they were, camped right on Moab's doorstep. Balak's soldiers were brave, but against Israel? Against a people who carried the reputation of miracles and divine protection? Balak knew the truth, no sword, no army, no fortress could withstand them. Unless, he found a way to turn their God against them. This thought gripped Balak's mind. If Israel's power came from their God, then perhaps the answer was not to fight them with weapons, but with words. A curse. That's when Balak remembered Balaam. Balaam was a prophet with a fearsome reputation. From Mesopotamia to the distant kingdoms of the east, his name carried weight. It was said that whoever Balaam blessed would rise to greatness, and whoever he cursed would fall into ruin. His words shaped destinies. His voice carried power. So Balak made a decision. He would summon Balaam to Moab. And through him, he would turn the strength of Israel into weakness. The king wasted no time. He sent his messengers riding hard across the desert, camels weighed down with treasures, gold, silver, and royal gifts. Their mission was simple: find Balaam and convince him to curse Israel. Night had already fallen when Balaam stepped outside his home. The desert was quiet, and the stars shimmered brightly above. At his door stood Balak's messengers, arms filled with riches. They bowed low and delivered their request. Balaam, King Balak offers you great honor and riches. Come with us, curse this nation for him, and he will reward you beyond measure. The wealth glistened in the torchlight, but Balaam's expression remained firm. He lifted his hand and said, "Stay here tonight. I will speak with the Lord, and in the morning I will tell you what he says." That night, as Balaam lay down, the presence of the Lord filled the air. God's voice came to him, strong and unmistakable. Do not go with them. You must not curse these people, for they are blessed. The command was clear. The next morning, Balaam stood before the messengers and said, "Go back to your king. The Lord has refused to let me go." When Balak heard this, he was not satisfied. He was not the kind of man who gave up easily. If his first offer wasn't enough, he would raise the stakes. This time, he sent a larger group of nobles, men of higher rank, carrying even greater treasures. When they arrived, they pleaded with Balaam, "Let nothing stop you from coming with us. The king will reward you greatly. Whatever you desire, name your price, and it will be yours." Balaam answered carefully, "Even if Balak gave me his palace full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the command of the Lord my God. But stay here tonight, and I will see what else the Lord may say." That night, Balaam prayed again. And this time, the Lord gave him a different answer. "Go with them. But you must only speak the words I give you." Early the next morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and set out with the Moabite officials. His path seemed set, but the road ahead would test him in ways he did not expect. The morning sun blazed over the dry earth as Balaam rode his donkey. The road stretched endlessly before him. Suddenly, the donkey stopped. No amount of pulling could make it move. Frustrated, Balaam struck the animal. But still the donkey refused. Why? Because it saw what Balaam could not. Standing in the road was an angel of the Lord, a mighty warrior, sword drawn, blocking the way. Balaam didn't see it. Blind in his anger, he struck the donkey again. A second time, the donkey veered aside, and a third time it stopped completely. Enraged, Balaam raised his staff to strike again, when suddenly the donkey spoke. "What have I done to you, that you have struck me 3 times?" The words froze the air. Balaam, shocked yet somehow too angry to think clearly, snapped back, "You have made a fool of me. If I had a sword, I would kill you right here." The donkey replied calmly, "Have I ever done this to you before?" Balaam hesitated. "No, never." Then his eyes were opened. Before him stood the angel of the Lord, radiant and terrifying, sword gleaming with divine fire. Balaam fell to the ground, trembling. The angel spoke, "Why have you beaten your donkey 3 times? I stood in your way because your path is reckless. If your donkey had not turned aside, I would have struck you down, and spared her." Shaken, Balaam confessed, "I have sinned. If my path displeases you, I will turn back." But the angel replied, "Go on with these men. But remember, you must speak only the words I give you." With fear and humility, Balaam continued his journey. When Balaam arrived in Moab, King Balak was ready. With a royal procession, banners flying, and soldiers in gleaming armor, he met the prophet at the city gates. "At last you have come," Balak declared. "Did you not believe my messengers? Do you not know I can make you wealthier than any man alive? Now, curse these people for me." But Balaam's eyes were steady. "I have come. But know this, O king, I cannot say whatever I please. I can only speak the words the Lord puts in my mouth." Balak nodded impatiently. "Then let us waste no more time." That night, Balak led Balaam to a high place overlooking the Israelite camp. Fires flickered across the valley below, the camp stretching endlessly like a sea of stars. Altars were built, sacrifices made, and the king stood ready for Balaam's curse. But when Balaam opened his mouth, the words were not curses at all, they were blessings. "From the heights I behold them, a people dwelling apart, not counted among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob? Who can number even a fourth of Israel? May I die the death of the righteous, and may my end be like theirs." Balak's fists clenched. His face darkened with anger. "What are you doing? I brought you to curse my enemies, and instead you have blessed them." But Balaam said, "Must I not speak what the Lord commands?" Determined, Balak dragged him to another high place. Once again, altars were built, sacrifices made, and Balaam was told to curse. But when he opened his mouth, another blessing flowed out. "God is not a man, that he should lie, nor a son of man, that he should change his mind. Behold, I have received a command to bless, he has blessed, and I cannot change it." Balak could hardly contain his fury. "If you will not curse them, then at least do not bless them." Still refusing to give up, he took Balaam to yet another place, Peor, overlooking the wilderness. There, Balaam did not even seek omens. He looked upon the camp of Israel, and the Spirit of God came upon him. His voice rang out like thunder. "How lovely are your tents, O Jacob! Your dwellings, O Israel! Like valleys they spread out, like gardens beside a river, like cedars planted by the Lord. The Lord their God is with them, and the shout of a king is among them." Balak staggered back, his rage boiling over. "Enough! I called you to curse my enemies, but 3 times you have blessed them. Leave me. I would have made you rich, but the Lord has kept you from reward." Balaam replied simply, "Did I not tell you? I can only speak what the Lord gives me." Then, before he departed, Balaam spoke one final prophecy. "I see him, but not now, I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob, a scepter will rise out of Israel. He will crush the foreheads of Moab, and break down all the sons of Sheth." Balak's plans had failed. Israel remained blessed. And the word of the Lord stood firm. The story of Balaam and Balak is more than an ancient tale of kings and prophets. It's a story about voices, choices, and the power of obedience. Balak thought he could manipulate God's will with wealth, power, and persistence. He believed that if he just tried hard enough, he could bend the truth to serve his plans. But God's word is unshakable. What he has blessed, no man can curse. Balaam, on the other hand, faced his own test. He was tempted by riches, flattered by kings, and even blinded by pride. But again and again, God reminded him, "You must speak only my words." And then there's the donkey, a simple, humble creature who saw what the prophet could not. Sometimes wisdom comes from unexpected places. Sometimes truth is spoken through the simplest of voices. So what can we learn? That no amount of wealth, power, or influence can overturn God's blessing on your life. That integrity means speaking truth, even when pressured to compromise. That humility opens our eyes to see what pride often blinds us to. As you reflect on this story, ask yourself, am I listening to the voices of fear, greed, or pressure, or to the voice of God that never changes? Because in the end, the story of Balaam and Balak reminds us, God's promises are firm, his blessings are secure, and no one, not even kings, can stand in the way of his plans. And that was the story of Balaam and Balak, an ancient encounter that still speaks powerful truths today. If you enjoyed this retelling, be sure to subscribe and share. Until next time, remember, no one can curse what God has blessed.